I've been coaching for quite some time. I've been coaching since I was in grad school, and before that I used to be a volunteer coach, mostly with basketball, and then I started coaching volleyball when I was in college. I thought that this year's boys volleyball season was very successful. Record doesn't always indicate the success or the growth of a program. I appreciate the dedication that most of the boys showed, how they matured as a team. There's a lot of camaraderie. Additionally, skill sets improved a lot.
The ball gets pushed out.
Selecting a roster, I think one of the most important things to look for is potential. This particular season, since it's been 3 years since there was a full boys volleyball season, I wanted to make sure that our coaching staff selected a larger group of personnel to see who would have the wherewithal to withstand a full season.
It's crazy. It's actually so crazy how much they improved. Michael in specific, one day we took the Q15 back home together, and he was just sitting next to me and he showed me a video of like him hitting. I was like, listen, maybe you gotta do this, this, and this. At the end of the year, this man, it was good. He was kind of good. Like all their serving and just working together as a team. I was so proud of them being a manager.
Go, my
What I think is really dynamic about the sport of volleyball, different than other sports, is you have a small area and many individuals have to function as one single unit. And if they don't do that, they won't have success. In volleyball, you have to have a series of combined skills to have success. So you have to have a pass, you have to set, you have to have an attack, and all those things have to come together. So the team has to function as one unit.
Coach Koch is very tough on us, so that's another aspect that is pretty difficult, but I think that I've managed pretty well.
She was really physically demanding, and I feel like obviously like that was helpful.
She's always been a strong presence, always been our rock.
She's trying to discipline us the best she can so that we can be the best we can.
In order to be successful in the sport of volleyball, you have to be able to combine not only individual skill sets, but the ability to have your brain and your body move from one component of the game or one aspect of the game to the other aspect of the game. We call this a game of transition. It's a very much an attack, counter-attack type of game. And it takes a lot of fast processing of what's happening and making decisions about what you think is going to happen. You have to not only train like foundational fitness, then you have to teach them the concepts of the game, then you have to give them the skills, but then really the fun comes when you get to strategize. And that to me is the beauty of volleyball, the strategy aspect.
From the right side, you're here, right? You cheating, not here. You start here and then you move this way. Alright, let's go, hands here.
Let's go, Willie.
Box on three, 1, 2, 3.
She helped me develop my skills very well, actually.
This year's team taught me a lot of patience. I was working with Coach Elvis Haniff and also Coach Mariella, and we saw a lot of raw talent and the development of raw talent into a volleyball program.
Everything she says, I just hear it again in college, and it's great to see. Like, she really prepared me for that transition from as a setter to an outside hitter, because I went in with like decent fundamentals in terms of like being able to pass the ball, serve the ball, and decently hit as well. So just like fine-tuning those, and I was able to make that transition really smoothly.
So I play libero and defensive specialist. Essentially, they hold down the court. You know, our offense is always pass first, as it is for every volleyball team. So I'm responsible for digging up those balls, making sure our offense gets set and ready to go. It's fun. It's very dynamic. You know, there's a lot of movement going around. You have to be able to communicate and think on your feet.
I'm playing volleyball because I don't really need to be tall in order to play the sport. Because other sports I was interested in, like basketball, is really, if you had height, you had an unfair advantage, and if you were short, you really couldn't do anything. So in volleyball, even with my short stature, I could still make a difference on the court, and that's what really drew me in. During the pandemic, it was like really important to get that conditioning in, especially now. 'Cause if I didn't get that conditioning in, I probably would have been a hot mess.
I like that volleyball is really fun, and I used to play it when I was younger, but I had quit because my middle school didn't have a boys volleyball team.
So it's kind of refreshing to know that this high school also has a volleyball team.
I play volleyball because I play it during my free time and it's like a really enjoyable sport for me, and I thought like being on the team would really like benefit me both physically and just like recreationally.
I like the teamwork that volleyball gives out.
I kind of personally enjoy learning new things, and I'm obviously an athletic guy. I love sports, and just learning a new sport is really fun for me. I like how it's a new thing for me.
I definitely feel like it's a struggle to manage extracurriculars along with our courses that we take here at Townsend. I feel like a course in particular that I struggled with was AP US History, especially when the actual AP test came around. In terms of completing homework, I usually take advantage of the free periods I have.
Just do it, man.
There's so many times where I got home at 7 and I'd be like, oh my god, I have to do work, and there's some times where I was just losing my mind because I couldn't balance schoolwork and homework and extracurriculars. I didn't sleep.
Extracurricular activities, especially a varsity sport, really takes up a lot of the time. Every day, even during my frees, I have to be constantly helping out with anything that the team might need, and after school practice, there's a lot of things that we have to do to keep the team running.
So typically, in order to motivate and encourage my other team members, I'd usually just, give them a high five, just pat on the back, give them any advice I can. Usually just any type of cheering. When I'm on the sidelines, you can really hear me cheer on my guys, because sometimes I see that they need that encouragement, so I just try and step it up for them.
Well, the main thing that I do is I try to encourage them, every play, no matter if they do good, bad, or if nothing even happened, I try to make sure that I remain positive, with high fives, words of encouragement, things like that.
Love the sport and the team chemistry that follows it. I just I just think it's a fun sport. I think it's my responsibility for everyone to be disciplined and for them to have fun while also being disciplined.
Being on a team, I feel like I get to be with a lot of people, and we all have the same goals and motivations to try to win every game we play.
Volleyball to me is very satisfying. When you get up and you get a block is something that is that moment itself is really nice, and then getting a kill and a play is always something that in the moment itself I think really satisfying. It just feels good compared to other sports I play where it's sometimes it'll only happen once in a while, where volleyball I feel it's constantly always happening. It's always fast moving, which I really enjoy.
Volleyball is a great team sport which has a lot of different physical aspects to it, jumping and blocking and eye-hand coordination.
Rally scoring, faster paced game makes people interested.
But it's competitive, at the same time very welcoming to everybody. They make friends for a lifetime. They learn to work together.
Volleyball is I feel it's one of the more rigorous sports in the school. I think that it requires a lot of dedication and mental fortitude because the practices that we do every day are not easy.
Because an important thing in volleyball is mental.
A lot of players on the volleyball team, we're all new to volleyball, and we don't really let that stop us. We are always studying, learning new rotations, etc., and positions on the court so we can be the best team possible.
There's 6 guys on the court and everyone else on the sidelines. We try to cheer as loud as we can and we try to get them motivated.
Games where we experienced adversity or points that were hard really came together and, you know, pushed through, whether it was a win or a loss.
We do our best no matter what happens. We have to keep our heads up even if we're losing.
A lot of dedication and a lot of like hard work.
The boys want to play because they want to hit the ball as hard as they possibly can. And then they realize, like, oh, there's so much more to it than just hitting. Great defense, hitting out of the back row. And the sport's growing. Girls we've always had a lot of girls play, but boys are picking up.
Keep your head up.
Always try your best, you know. Always try and persevere despite the tough times.
So I think the Townsend mentality is just like, you know, get in there and just grind as hard as you can, because that's just what you're gonna have to do.
And we got a lot better since the last game, so like, there's no excuse to lose. Let's defend the home court. Let's take it 1 point at a time. Keep the energy up. Let's take it 1 point at a time and don't get down on yourselves. If you mess up once, it's okay. There's a lot of points to score in volleyball. So make sure that don't get fussed up over 1 point when you could get another 5. All right? Yeah! Let's finish in 2 steps so we can go home early.